Hi, welcome to tonight's Foxy Little Nuggets, where the numbers of reality meets the lies of politics, and somehow the sums don't add up. Well, we've got 4 stories, of course, as usual, and a wonderful and finally. It's an absolutely brilliant and finally, so do stick around for that. We want to talk about, first of all, the Wellbeing Hour. This is a marvellous idea. I use the word marvellous completely inappropriately. There's been a taxpayer-funded, what they call Wellbeing Hour, where civil servants have been scrapped after failing to boost productivity. 9,000 staff were paid an extra hour each to go and, rest, sleep, walk their dogs, take a lesson, meet and greet, maybe have a drink, who knows, relax. Participants were told, do what you do, bit of yoga, bit of mental exercise, all these things, meant to make you feel better, so that when you return to work, you're more productive. Sounds great. Unfortunately, overall, productivity went down. This extra hour was marvellous. It slowed everyone down. They were great. They just couldn't find the energy afterwards to re-engage with actually doing any work. And so productivity went so through and fell by 76%. I'm not kidding. So this 1 hour a week of look after yourself time, what a massive reduction in productivity. So they decided to end this pilot scheme. It goes to show, if you truly want to get the productivity out of the worker, beat them with a stick. Don't dangle carrots. But there we go. It's another gimmick, and it's one of those that fails, but then they try so hard, don't they? We're going to move to Westminster. Westminster Council. This is the second story. They are having a wonderful time of it. They've been told by government that their government grant for the council is being cut by £160 million a year by 2029. And so they've decided that, well, we can't exist like that. So can we have a temporary abeyance and allow to put our council tax up to meet it? The government have said yes. And so Westminster Council of putting their council tax up by, I was going to say 10%. I made a mistake. I misread the number of zeros. 100%. And of course, they're not going to be the only council that do this. Any council now can apply to the government to have a temporary abeyance from the rules of rises. And it makes you wonder if up and down the entire country, councils will put their council tax up 100%. After all, why shouldn't they? There we go. This government says we're going to make everyone feel better and then double your council tax. Thousands of pounds a year. Now, this isn't that there's going to be more money going into the councils. No. What the government are going to say is, oh, look, your council tax has gone up thousands of pounds. That means we don't have to give so much money to the councils, which means we retain a lot more money here in government that we can then spend on Johnny Foreigner. Yay! Socialism. Marvellous, isn't it? Marvellous. Honestly, you wonder how you've survived all those centuries without socialism. Then Karl Marx comes along at the late 1800s and all of a sudden the world turns to shit. But there we go. There's going to be envelopes hitting on the doorsteps. The residents will be afraid to open them, and they'll see that there's a 100% increase in council tax, and nobody knows how they're going to pay for it. But of course, the big thing here is really, let's get the takeaway. They put the council tax up so high, you can't pay it, and then they use the law to say, well, we're going to take your house from you so we can claim our council tax back. You are then allowed to retain the ownership, not the ownership, the residency of the house, but the council will own it. You'll have to pay the council a rent to live in your own home forever. That's the house you bought with your taxed money. Yeah, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You're not allowed to own a home, are you? No home ownership. Good luck. But there you go. Vote socialism. Have your houses taken from you. Have your entire children's futures destroyed. Are we still feeling good towards Burnham now? Is that Burnham bounce still there? I think perhaps not. Let's move on to the bankers. They're not happy, and yet you think they should be with all the money they're making, but apparently not. Jane Fraser, she's the chief executive of Citibank, and she says that all the new plans that Labour now have for a imposed and increased rate of tax on banks are going to drive every single major sort of commercial and investment bank out of the country. And once the bank goes, Britain is, and I'm going to use the technical term here, fucked. Banking and the stock market is Britain's biggest income stream by a long way. But the government now, the socialist government now want to increase the amount they take from the banks over and above corporation tax, the banking rate, which is currently 3%. So you pay your corporation tax, the government then take an extra 3%. They want to increase it from 3% to 35%. So effectively a taxation rate of getting close to 80% of bank profits. What do you think the banks are going to do? The banks are gone. It's just unbelievable. Trade unions are now demanding what they describe as a windfall tax on banks. And they want this 35%. The moment it happens, the bank's gone. And how much do the banks produce for Britain? Give me a guess. What do you think that the bank and stock market produces in terms of money for Britain each year? I'll give you a clue. It begins with a T. And all of that will go. Fraser Institute says that the international business community still wants Britain to succeed, but it cannot do with levels of tax that are lunatic in their levels. Britain says it wants global investment, but it won't get a brass farthing at this level of taxation. Why would you? Here's the thing. Imagine you yourself were sitting there and going, I'm going to invest £1,000. I can do it in Britain, where if I double my money and make £1,000 back, I have to give the government £750. Or I can go over here to America, where I get nothing, I have to pay nothing in tax for the first year, only 10% in the second year, and then 25% after that. Or I can go to Abu Dhabi and never pay a penny in tax, well, 1.9%. Or I can go to, and etc., etc., etc. It's not hard to see why everyone will leave, is it? It's not hard to see why I am moving my company out of Britain and into Cyprus. And the reason is simple. Cyprus only want you to do one tax return a year, not one tax return a quarter, or coming soon, one tax return a month, that Britain is going to force. And also, and this is the thing that kills you, do you know what the tax is in Cyprus? Well, it's 12.5% for corporation tax, but if I take the money out as a dividend to me, why do you think? Why do you think so many rich people are buggering off? And I'm not even rich. I'm talking thousands, not millions. But it's still cheaper for me to do this. Britain is going to be so fucked if the banks go. Britain's got no income. Literally none. But that's exactly what the socialists want. Now, finally, the last story, reform. Morgan McSweeney, Labour's erstwhile former chief executive of policy and electioneering, says that don't believe the hype, don't believe the bullshit. He says reform are still strong and they are going to be the official opposition come the next election. He was speaking at a big public hosted event and said, don't listen to the Tories, they're not the danger. Reform are, and they are growing. He says, despite the last couple of days and all the BS that's going on, he says, people are increasingly realising that the only way to beat the Uni Party is reform. He says, and Labour have got to get on this. He says there's no point Labour attacking any other party. They've got to go reform all the way. That's bad news, really, for Kemi Badenoch. She's very popular. Unfortunately, her party aren't. People haven't forgiven them. But waiting too long just for any kind of hope for the Tories is just not going to work. He also says that either Burnham goes early, as in right now, or he has to wait. He goes now, he has a chance of winning. If he waits, he's got no chance. Well, there you go. This coming from the horse's mouth. Now I've got a fantastic and finally. London Zoo has just announced the birth of a new Humboldt penguin. They're calling her Mildred. It's a suitable, humble beginning for this Humboldt penguin. But Mildred should not underestimate the power of being a penguin from London Zoo. Because if you go north to Edinburgh Zoo, we need to talk about Major General Sir Nils Olav III. It's the second most important rank in Norway's army. And Major General Sir Nils Olav III is both a mascot and the Colonel-in-Chief of the King's Guard. He's been knighted, he's been promoted repeatedly, and now officially outranks just about everyone apart from the President of Norway in terms of military power. Mildred, of course, is a Humboldt penguin, but so is Major General Sir Nils Olav III. Oh yeah, he's a penguin, and he's the most important ranked soldier in NATO. So Mildred may be starting at the bottom, but the sky's the limit, so long as those wings flap and she can fly up there to the stratospheric heights. Thanks very much. Love you all. Bye.